have the Crayola Crayon challenge just because I really like crayons. Like, I think I've mentioned before that I'm basically just a giant child at heart. But yeah, I bought these crayons for myself just for fun, but I figured it'd be fun to do a challenge video with them as well. So that's what we're gonna do today, and I'm gonna try to draw something festive, but we'll see how that works out. I think my biggest problem with traditional art is that I'm very bad at positioning my art, and like with digital art I don't have to worry about it because I can just move things around on the canvas, and so I always end up with these drawings where it's like either drawn too high or too low on the page, so I can't fit everything I want in, or like I have too much space left over. We're back. So funny story, I had my phone on silent and so I didn't hear it when the camera shut off, so I missed about a half an hour of coloring, which is just super nifty and dandy. I debated just starting again and doing a new picture, but that sounds like a lot of work and I like how this is going, so we're just gonna keep working at it. Anyways, some of the things I touched on in all the footage I didn't catch was that originally I wanted this to be a redder red, but like the actual red, which I think, no, I'm not even using it, I'm using strawberry red right now, but yeah, actual red looks very orange, partially I think because it's a blue paper, but also because I done a lot of purpler and pinker reds, and so the regular red doesn't look as red as I want it to. I was sort of just doodling in my sketchbook last night, and I was trying to think of Christmassy ideas. Originally I was just going to do like something like an elf girl or like a Christmas tree, but this all seemed kind of boring, and then I doodled out this. I thought, man, that'd be a fun thing to color. And yeah, I do have the problem that since I am using blue paper, I can't get like super whites, and I've tried going over with a white crayon to see if that will help. But the white crayon doesn't really show up, like you can see a little bit in the hair, but it's not as bright as I'd like it to be. The paper I'm using came from the dollar store, just because that's where I get most of my art supplies. Like I live on an island in a very small town, and so we have like, I think we do actually have an art store, like I've driven past it before, but I've never gone into it. But outside of like one tiny itty bitty art store, you can either get your art supplies at like Superstore or at the dollar store, and that's it. And so that's part of why I use cheap supplies, plus living on an island, shipping is crazy expensive. So yeah, I don't want to go over the horns too much. I feel like I'm already pushing a little bit because the more you color over something with crayons, the more waxy it gets. And so that makes it super reflective and also makes it hard to throw more color on. Plus you can kind of see some parts here where I put maybe a bit too much on, where the color starts to get really splotchy. Yeah, I'm trying to make these look like horns. I found that with horns and similar like shiny round things, if you put a bit of shading, not necessarily all the way to the side, you can give it more of a tubular shape. Sorry, trying not to block the camera with my hand. I've been recording some of my daily doodles for a video I plan to do at the start of next year. But the problem is, if I record videos at my desk, the setup's like super compact and I have to get like super close, and so I don't have a wide enough angle, so my hand is basically just covering the entire picture while I draw. Yeah, I haven't decided if this is fur, or just like skin, or like an actual suit, because I haven't really decided what it is I'm drawing. Like, it's the vague concept of Santa Claus. I'm trying not to make it too purple. I think a lot of my pieces end up being very purple, and that's partially because I tend to outline in purple, and so usually the outline color helps to dictate what the rest of the piece looks like. Maybe someday I'll branch out to different colors like blue, light purple, reddish purple, bluish purple. And yeah, I don't want to put too much gray into his beard just because I don't really like shading with gray. So I've already started going in with some blues and purples, again, back to the purple thing. So I've got like this, let's see, what is it? Purple Mountain Majesty, which is a very desaturated purple. And with crayons, I find it's a lot easier if you start with a darker shade and work your way to lighter shades, because you can't really stack colors on top of each other. So if I started with a lighter shade, I might not be able to get the level of darkness I really want. I'm trying to build up the darker shades because I don't want it to get too waxy like it did with the horns. I think blue works a lot more for shading on this piece because it's on blue paper. Does that make any sense? I don't actually know how color theory works, I just like to pretend I do, so I sound like a more serious artist. So I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna throw some blue in here to make it more blue to evoke the feeling of Christmas. Because blue is like snow. I don't know what I'm saying. And I still want it to look like a white fluffy beard. It is maybe a little bit too fluffy. I think in the initial sketch it was a bit more scraggly. I'm not sure. The sketchbook is out of my reach right now. And it would look cooler if it had more of a downward motion, but it does look more Santa-y. Now that looks like a bunch of cotton balls just like glued onto his face. I remember back in high school, I think it was 10th grade or so, I had a friend, and at one point we went to church together, and I went to church with their family, and I was talking with her mom, who was also an artist, and we were just, you know, casually talking about art, and she asked me what my favorite art supply was, and being someone who's not very quick on my feet, my first answer was, I like crayons? And she was like, crayons, are you serious? Crayons. And so my friend jumped in with like, you know, oh no, she means like oil pastels, you know, those kind of crayons, not Crayola crayons. And like, I appreciate my friend for jumping in and, you know, saving me from looking like a fool in front of her mom. But I do genuinely like coloring with crayons. I think they're just a very stress-free art supply. Like I said back with my MS Paint video, I like art supplies where it's like I don't feel like I have to make something good. And so with crayons, you know, there's not this obligation to make something good, and they are very bright pigmented things, so you know, as long as you can throw enough colors on the page, it looks like something fun. So I think for the hands and feet, I'm gonna actually go with a darker color. I was debating between that and a flesh tone, like his face, but I kind of want it to look like gloves and boots. This color is called Mauvelous, like the color, or mauve? Is it pronounced mauve or mauve? I don't know, but I appreciate the pun. Can you hear children screaming and fighting? Because they're right above me right now. And this is basically what I have to live with every day. It's just the sounds of children fighting. But yeah, if you hear any banging, no one's getting murdered. It's probably just them, like, having a battle royale. I might use a dark blue to define some parts of the green. I'm trying to see if I have, like, a greenish blue that's dark. Because none of the greens I have are super dark. Okay, I have a blue-green, so that should work. I love the names they give Crayolas. Like, have you ever seen pictures online of, like, the internet-based crayons with, like, I can't even remember any of the names, but they've got all, like, totally, like, 90s internet-type names to all of their markers? Those are pretty cool. We're gonna try to make a couple of these parts darker, and I think I was working on the hooves last night. Or claws? What are these? Paws? I mean, I think as the artist I should probably know. We'll just call them feet. They're just normal Santa feet that you'd see on a normal mall Santa. And I would not recommend doing small details in crayons. Just because crayons are not good for smaller details, like bigger areas like this, it's fine. But I am definitely struggling to make this look like something, like anything, really. Just because I did draw her very small, just for like some perspective, because elves are small. I figure the story behind this piece is pretty much left open to interpretation. Like, is this just Santa in his natural state? Did something happen to Santa? Is this even Santa? Maybe it's just some terrifying imposter. I guess it's not that terrifying though. He's kind of cute, honestly. I think I'm gonna add in another paw, just peeking out here. Okay, so I've found a pair of scissors. I might try to trim this down real quick, just so that way I don't have to worry about this entire area over here, so I'll be right back. So I was thinking of having some candy canes, like, coming up top. I think had I planned this better, I would have left some space here so I could have some candy canes in the foreground and the background. Candy canes green just to contrast with Santa. I might throw in some like red stripes as well. Yeah, this candy cane's just going on an adventure. I think it's sort of like drooping down. Like, you know when you hit a telephone pole? This candy cane probably got run over by some drunk elf. Don't drive drunk, kids. Otherwise you'll mess up the candy canes. Maybe Santa knocked it over. Gosh dang it, Santa. And I considered just cutting Santa out and drawing a background on a separate piece of paper, which would have been cool, but I kind of want to get this video done pretty soon here because it's almost Christmas Eve. I was hoping to have it up by Saturday. Maybe they're on like a frozen lake or something. And poor Santa Claus is stuck because he's big and kind of awkward and worried that if he walked, he'll break the lake. I'm just going to use the back of the crayon to see if I can cover more area with that. Only problem is there's like a dollop on the middle of this crayon, so it's not going to be perfectly smooth. I know if I took the wrapping off the crayon, I could do that, but I think this method works alright. And that is everything for this video, so thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye!